Think you're ready to see the world in a whole new way? I hope so, because I'm about to blow your mind. Have you ever noticed those plastic lines along the side of your phone? They're the oddly spaced stripes that seem to have no purpose. In reality, though, they're probably your phone's most important feature, because without them, your device would be little more than a smart paperweight. They are antenna lines, allowing your phone to remain wireless. Electromagnetic waves carrying phone, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi signals cannot pass through metal, which makes up most of the phone's outer case. And the glass panel up front also slows those waves down. It's like there's a bouncer at the door, refusing to let most signals in or out of the phone. Hey, I've been to that nightclub. Anyway, that means no phone calls, no text, and no late-night delivery when you have nothing in the fridge except one egg and something that might have once been lasagna. Those little strips of plastic allow the same electromagnetic waves to come and go as they please. This is why you can call a friend, order a ride, or play an online matching game until 3 in the morning. Hey, don't you have to get up early for work? When you do finally stumble out of bed, make sure you're using this next item correctly to avoid a potentially upsetting situation. The zipper, originally patented as the clasp locker in 1851, didn't become widely used until the 1930s. Now they're on everything, from bags to jackets to jeans. And they're not perfect. They get stuck. They pinch the skin. And we all know what happens if the zipper on our pants refuses to stay up. Well, luckily, this can be avoided. Most zippers have a locking mechanism built right in. When the zip is facing down and flat against the teeth, the lock is engaged and the zipper remains closed. If only I had known that back in school. What about those metal rivets most jeans have? They're more than a design choice. They were added to protect areas that experience the most strain, such as pocket corners and the base of the fly. The rivets hold the fabric together, even when it's being stretched and pulled during work. And since we're talking about clothing, have you ever wondered about that tiny fifth pocket at the front of your jeans? Well, first of all, it isn't really a fifth pocket. Originally, jeans were made with 4 pockets, including that little one in front. The fifth pocket is actually the one on the back left, which was only added to jeans in 1901. The little pocket, though, was important a long time ago. Cowboys needed to keep their pocket watches safe while riding out on the range. Yeehaw! That pocket kept the watches protected but also handy. And then people became so used to it that jeans just look weird without one. Another strange holdout from a bygone day is that stitched V on the front of some sweatshirts. What if I told you that those exact stitches hold the whole shirt together? Well, then I would be lying, and I never do that. But back in the 1940s, this V was very useful. First, the V stitch was initially used to add a patch of stretchy rib fabric to the shirt so that it could fit over our big heads more easily. Secondly, these shirts were specifically designed for sports, so the V included an additional piece of fabric to absorb the sweat that would build up during a game or a workout. As stretchy fabric became readily available and better at handling perspiration, the V lost its traditional value. But, like the tiny jean pocket, it has continued as a decorative feature, a reminder of our big-headed ancestors who apparently only sweated just below the chin. But moving on. One place you won't find many people sweating is the golf course. You will see quite a few fashion disasters, sure, but sweat? Not so much. Golf was invented around the 16th century in Scotland. Back then, the ball was perfectly round and smooth. Over time, the ball would become dented from use, and at some point, golfers discovered that these imperfections actually helped the ball fly farther. Dimples were added on purpose in the 1900s, when it was found out that they reduced the aerodynamic drag that slowed down a smoother ball, and the dimples made the balls easier to control. And no, not all golf balls are created equal. The number of dimples can range from 300 to 500, with one company producing a ball with over 1,000 little dents. Wow, a little overboard, eh? Need a quick, refreshing drink after a round of golf? Juice boxes, created back in 1963, are very convenient. But why do they have these large triangular flaps on top? Their lifted flaps act as hand grips. This stops you from accidentally squeezing a full box and spilling juice all over the place, like onto your favorite t-shirt or the new couch. Now, when you're done golfing, grab your backpack with that leather diamond patch with 2 vertical openings. It's commonly referred to as a lash tab, but I much prefer its other name, pig snout. I mean, it certainly looks like one. You typically find these pig snouts on packs used by hikers and climbers. The diamond is a place to tie any extra gear that they need to carry, like boots, cooking equipment, or sleeping bags. But these lash tabs are also becoming more common on smaller backpacks. They're a nod to the past, but just as useful. Attach your running shoes to one next time you head to the gym, keeping those stinky things away from the rest of your clothes. Now, I'm sure you're a great driver, but for years, you've probably been neglecting an important safety feature right in front of your eyes. That rear-view mirror has a small tab located at the bottom center. It's high time you started using it. When this is flipped forward, the mirror is in day mode, providing a strong reflection of everything behind the car. Flipping the tab backward changes the whole situation to night mode. This reduces the brightness of the headlights behind you, resulting in a safer drive. Another cool car tip? If you're borrowing from a friend, using a rental, or have the memory of a houseplant, cars feature a handy indicator to let you know which side the gas tank is on. It's a tiny arrow next to the pump icon that points either left or right. Where the arrow points, that's where the gas tank can be found. And that's one less thing you have to remember. Okay, off to the grocery store. A regular shopping cart has a useful feature you might have been overlooking. Carts usually include loops in the metal frame, often behind the child seat. As you bag your groceries, hang the ones with fragile or squishable items, like eggs or bread, on these loops. Now they're out of harm's way when you toss that giant watermelon into the cart. Later, when you're unloading your groceries, do yourself a favor and grab that box of plastic wrap. You know, the one that is impossible to unroll without the whole tube coming out while the plastic wrap sticks to itself. Check out either end of the box, and you'll see small tabs that you are supposed to push in. This helps to hold the roll in place so you can easily pull the plastic wrap out without all the fuss. Aluminum foil boxes also have these tabs. Now that you can finally use that plastic wrap, try this appealing hack. Separate that bunch of bananas and cover each stem in some plastic wrap. The stem releases a gas called ethylene. When it reaches the rest of the banana, it encourages the fruit to ripen and turn black. If you wrap the stems, your bananas will last longer. And since you're in your kitchen, you might as well warm up that coffee from this morning. Just remove the gross skin that has formed on top. Don't eat it. Of course, as you open the microwave, you'll notice that the glass in the door has a strange black mesh inside. This mesh is designed to stop any radiation from passing through the glass. Like the electromagnetic waves we discussed earlier, radiation can't pass through metal. That mesh keeps it all safely inside to help you heat up your food. Thank you, science. Oh, and about that cup of coffee, did you know that the handle size can help you determine how much the mug actually holds? Let your fingers guide you. If you can fit 2 fingers into the handle, then the mug holds 8 ounces or 1 measuring cup of liquid. 3 fingers, 10 ounces or 1 1/4 cups. 4 fingers, 12 ounces or 1 1/2 cups. Pretty cool, huh? So, making a mistake with a pencil is easy to fix. You just use the pink side, right? And with ink, you just flip the eraser and use the blue part. Wrong. And you just wrecked a perfectly good piece of paper. That's because the blue part is actually also for pencil. Mind blown. The blue side of the eraser is for erasing mistakes on thicker paper, where the softer pink side just can't get the job done. A vegetable peeler isn't just for potatoes or carrots. You can use it to shave off thin slices of onion. Hey, I just saved you time, stress, and a whole bunch of tears. It's also good for cutting perfect thin slices of cheese. Everything is better with cheese. The diagonal leather patch on backpacks isn't just for decoration, it's there to hold your nasty shoes. Backpacks are made for the outdoors, with pockets to hold water bottles, pens, maps, coins, and maybe even tiny dogs. So it makes sense to tie up your muddy shoes on the outside of your bag. Placing a wooden spoon across the top of a pot of pasta can stop it from turning into a volcano situation. The bubbles get all confused when they come into contact with the spoon's water-repelling surface, and they retreat back into the pot. Victory! Less mess and more pasta. If you're pre-rinsing your dishes like you were told to, you might be getting worse results from your dishwasher. Most modern dishwashers have sensors inside them to sense how dirty your plates are. Then they unleash a controlled jet of water to get all of that stuff off. Scrape any solid food into your compost bin and stack them up properly. Let the dishwasher do the hard work. Dropping an open juice box can turn a relaxing Sunday into a day of cleaning up a sticky mess. The manufacturers know how you feel and how clumsy you can be. That's why they put little handles on the cartons. Flip up the flaps at the top of the juice box. Okay, now you can totally space out. Blenders are designed to have the liquids put in first. To make the perfect smoothie, add your milk, coconut water, yogurt, or whatever you use in first. Then your berries and spinach and whatever. You can thank me later. You're welcome. Ever pull the foil lid off a pudding or one of those mini applesauce things and realize you don't have a spoon with you? Don't worry, there's a trick for that, hidden in the foil. Give it a little fold and it's good to go. Now, it's not really a spoon, more of a mini shovel, but it gets the job done. Or you can use your fingers instead. No. No more sacrificing your fingernail on that keyring your friend got you in Cabo. For a frustration-free way to add a new key to your ring, grab a staple remover and wedge its teeth between the coils. Create even more space by pressing down. Now, there's no need to cry over spilled milk. Pouring milk out of a carton can sometimes lead to messy accidents. Unless you use this simple trick, turn the carton around and pour it out that way. What? It may seem weird, but once you try it, you'll never go back. Have you ever tried to pull out a square of plastic wrap only to have the whole roll jump out of the box in excitement? Not anymore. There's little cardboard tabs on the sides to hold the tube in place, making it easy to glide the film out. Just push them in and never be frustrated again. Never! Using a plunger on a clogged kitchen sink or toilet can be annoying. But have you really got the right tool for the job? One is the standard bowl-shaped rubber head. This is perfect for flat surfaces like a sink or a tub. The other one has a narrower head on it, specifically designed for toilet pipes. Having a cold drink on a hot summer's day is so refreshing. But what do you do if your soda bottle is still warm? Cry? The always handy paper towel is here to save the day. Wet the towel, wrap it around the bottle, and place it in the freezer for 15 to 20 minutes. Presto! A nice cold beverage. When you look at a check and see MP near the signature line, it means the check printer used microprint as an extra security feature. To the untrained eye, it looks like a normal line. Tricky stuff. Elevators have many tricks up their sleeves. Not that they actually wear coats or anything. Pressing the floor button twice to turn it off, holding the closed door button and your floor together to get an express ride, does that actually work? But what about that secret hole in the outside door? Is someone looking in on your bored, resting elevator face? As cool as that would be, it's only for maintenance people to open the elevator and fix any problems. Cutting cherry tomatoes can be extremely boring, one tomato at a time. Surely, there's a quicker way to do this. Well, try placing a bunch of them between two plates. Slice in between and enjoy perfectly cut cherry tomato halves. The colored tags used to seal bread tell you which day of the week the bread was baked on. Who would have guessed? The coating makes it easier for shops to remove older loaves from the shelves. But bread tags can do more than keep your favorite loaf sealed. Grabbing the right cord from behind the TV is all about luck, until now. Use the old bread tags as indicators to quickly find the cord you want. Look at some of those loose coins in your jar by the door. Notice those ridges? Back in the 18th century, people would file coins down, round up the shavings, and mint their own coins later. To stop this, the U.S. Mint decided to put ridges on the coins to show if they've been tampered with. Now, it's just tradition. The indent at the bottom of wine bottles is called a punt. The punt makes the wine bottle stronger, so if they're dropped, the cork won't fly across the room with all that pressure. Now, takeaway sodas have a built-in coaster. Where, you might ask? The lid, of course. Place the lid down on a table under your drink to avoid any of those annoying condensation rings. Wooden hangers aren't just great for the environment, they'll save your clothes too. If you have pine or cedar hangers laying around, keep them in the closet with all the others. The secret behind wooden hangers is that they'll keep moths off your clothes and make them smell fresh too. Only a few people know the secret of getting your to-go ketchup out of the bottle without wasting any. So tap that number 57 sweet spot to get a perfect, what's the word, dollop? Don't waste your strawberries by cutting off the top. Use a straw and push through from the bottom of the strawberry. Now enjoy a tasty cylinder of strawberry goodness. Just don't eat the leaves. The brushes on the sides of escalators aren't for cleaning your shoes, but they do a great job. The nylon brushes stop us from getting caught on the side of the escalator by tickling our ankles. Interesting trick. Many screwdrivers can be used with a wrench to create more torque. Just place the wrench over the handle of the screwdriver and you'll use a lot less force than you would have before. It also makes it easier to get to those hard-to-reach areas. Flip any Tupperware container over and you'll likely see a few symbols. These are to show you if they're dishwasher safe, if they can be microwaved or frozen, and how to recycle them. So it turns out we've been opening bananas wrong for way too long. Instead of opening up at the stem, turn them upside down and peel from the bottom. It opens much easier that way. That's how monkeys eat them, so how do we get it so wrong? Analog watches can do much more than tell time. If you need to step away from your computer a bunch of times but don't want to have to keep logging back in, place your mouse over the top of your analog watch. The mouse will read the ticking second hand and keep your computer screen from turning black. Extension cords can easily frustrate anyone. Just as you start getting into a rhythm, the power cuts out. The best way to avoid this is simple. Builders use this trick all the time. Tie the ends together and they'll never disconnect again. Keychain bottle openers aren't just for kids, you know. On the underside, there's a thing you can use to open a can as well. This works especially well if you don't have nails or don't want them broken. Back in the day, pizza for dinner was like winning the lottery, only with more cheese. But did you ever notice that plastic stopper in the middle of the box, stopping the lid from touching the pizza? It also has another use. Use this little stopper to hold down the slice next to yours when you're getting it out of the box. Yeah, you can thank me later. That square of fabric isn't meant for repairing holes in your clothing, although might as well keep it just in case. It's actually a tester for your washing machine and detergent. If the fabric square comes out of the cycle okay, then wash away. But be honest, how many people do you think have really ever done this? I'm guessing not many. Okay, so right after being processed, plastic water bottles aren't the size you buy at the store. Even a gallon water bottle starts its life as a small tube. Later, it gets heated, inflated, and shaped into the bottle you know. Boy, I can relate to the heated and inflated part. Now, not all potato chips are actually fried potato slices. Some companies use a mix of potato flakes, cornstarch, and water to produce chips. This mix is then pressed into a dough, and chips are cut out from it with the help of shape molds. Then the chips are fried, which takes about 11 seconds. After that, all excess oil gets drained and the chips are seasoned and packed. There's a legend that only 2 people in the world know the original recipe that gives Coca-Cola its signature taste. These people aren't allowed to travel together so that the recipe never gets lost. Even though it's just a popular legend, not many people are aware of all the ingredients of the world-famous drink. One of them used to be the cola nut. Hey, I used to be a cola nut. You can find these nuts inside the fruit of the cola tree. Each fruit is about the size of a chestnut and has between 2 and 5 cola nuts inside. The cola fruit and nuts are packed with caffeine. Nowadays, Coca-Cola is said to no longer contain the cola nut extract. It's rumored to have been replaced with artificial flavoring. But since the drink's recipe is such a closely guarded secret, no one knows for sure. Hey, maybe we can ask Pepsi. These days, it's quite simple to make a mirror. Producers take a regular sheet of glass as a base. Then they apply a reflective coating. This usually means spraying a thin layer of either silver or aluminum onto the back of the sheet of glass. This process is called silvering. Some kinds of car wax contain carnauba wax, also called Brazil wax. That's a vegetable wax people get from the fronds of the carnauba tree growing in Brazil. To get the wax, the leaves of this tree first get dried and then beaten. Ooh, ooh, ow, ow! This is how you can remove the powdery wax. Now, pencils. First, their leads are made by mixing clay and graphite powder. This mixture is then baked. After that, pencil bodies are made. If they're wooden, the material should be chosen carefully. It should be soft enough to sharpen, but tough enough not to break. When the pre-cut sections are delivered to the factory, they have grooves cut in them. These grooves will later accommodate the leads. Then special glue is added. This way the leads will stay in place. Next, every second section is sent to a special conveyor, and the leads are placed in the grooves. Then another section is glued to the one filled with leads. We get a large multi-pencil sandwich. Sandwich, I'm getting hungry. The two parts of this sandwich get compressed and cut lengthwise. Then they're shaped and form separate pencils. Lava lamps were invented in the middle of the 20th century. The magic happening inside is due to the right amount and type of ingredients. Two of them are oil and paraffin wax. The oil helps the wax heat up, and once it's heated, it starts rising up slowly. Once the blob reaches the surface, it cools down and sinks back to the bottom. Now, nutmeg is a strongly flavored spice used in many cuisines all over the globe. Despite its name, nutmeg isn't a nut. It's technically a seed native to the Spice Islands and East Indies tropical islands. Nutmeg grows on trees, and the seed itself is sealed in a shell. Once it's ripe, the outer shell cracks open. Chocolate comes from the cacao tree, which is native to the Amazon. These trees also grow in Central and South America and some other tropical climates in Africa and Asia. The seeds of the cacao tree are very bitter. They have to be fermented to develop the flavor you're used to. After this process, the beans get dried, cleaned, and roasted. The shell is removed, and crumbled bits of dried cocoa beans are ground to cocoa mass. This mass is then used in the production of all kinds of chocolatey things. In the past, people used to chew different types of aromatic substances, including beeswax, tree resin, or even aromatic twigs. But modern-day chewing gum is made of a natural latex-like ingredient called chicle. It gets extracted from trees. Modern marbles are made from glass. The first step is to melt recycled glass and previously rejected marbles that turned out to be too small or too big. About 15 hours later, the molten glass is ready for processing. A special cutter bar moves through the stream of liquid glass every half a second. It separates small pieces of glass. They're future marbles called slugs. The faster the cutter bar moves, the smaller the marbles are. After that, the still hot slugs are sent through several constantly rotating metal rollers. They keep the slugs apart and also cool them. These ridged rollers also give the marbles their spherical shape. As for the marble's final coloring, it's determined already at the melting stage. That's when the air passes the coloring through the glass. You can find springs everywhere, from tools, electronics, and toys to pens and mattresses. They come in different forms, for example, torsion, wire, extension, or compression springs. When a spring is made, a steel cord is passed to a dereeler. How thick this cord is depends on what kind of spring we need. The dereeler unwinds the roll and sends the cord to a computer-controlled forming machine. That's where the cord gets coiled to the needed length and cut into pieces. Now, to produce tomato ketchup, one of my favorites, you need tomato paste or puree, sugar, or some other natural sweetener, salt, spices, vinegar, and onion powder. First, the needed volume of the tomato paste is heated while being constantly stirred. Then other ingredients are added as well. Before the ketchup is bottled, it has to go through several cooling stages. Meanwhile, bottles are already aligned and waiting to be filled with the ketchup. This usually happens automatically. At the end of this process, caps and labels are added to the bottles. Cashew nuts are rich in plant protein, healthy fats and fiber, and low in sugar. But they're some of the most expensive nuts out there, and no wonder. The cashew tree, native to tropical regions of Brazil, produces a long stalk called a cashew apple. It resembles a small pear. Well then, why don't they just call it a cashew pear? Anyway, at the end of this stalk, there's a kidney-shaped nut. It's protected by a double shell that contains a poisonous oily substance. It's the main reason cashews aren't sold in their shells like peanuts or pistachios. Cashews need to be dried and roasted first. This removes the toxins and makes the shell brittle and much easier to remove. Nail polish, as we know it today, is a rather modern invention. It became popular at the beginning of the 20th century. Different companies use different kinds of chemicals and ingredients to produce nail polish. But one of these ingredients is always the same: nitrocellulose. This substance is actually liquid, but it gets mixed with plasticizers. They make nail polish more flexible and allow you to wear it longer. The process of creating ice cream sandwiches is pretty simple. First, ice cream gets whipped. It's done to add some air. The resulting substance is then sent to the next part of the assembly. There, 2 lines of wafers are already sandwiched together, and ice cream is simultaneously injected between them. It happens so quickly that more than 100 ice cream sandwiches can be made in a minute. How many can I eat in a minute? There are all kinds of plastic brooms out there, but there's one type that's made from recycled plastic bottles. With people buying 1 million plastic bottles all over the world, it's a cool way to reuse plastic. Tires production is a multi-step process. Tires are made from more than 15 main ingredients. Among them, there's synthetic and natural rubber, carbon black pigment, and chemical additives. Giant mixers stir these ingredients under high pressure and temperature. The final result is almost always thin rubber gum. It gets rolled into sheets. After that, tires get assembled on a special machine. Different kinds of cloth, rubber, and metal are used for the production of a tire. Finally, the tire gets cured in a special press under more than 300 degrees of heat and high pressure. This process lasts for 12 to 15 minutes. When they make darts, the flight shafts are produced first. 10-foot-long aluminum rods are put into a special machine. It has a few cutting tools that work from several angles at the same time. The rod turns into shafts. There are threads cut into each flight shaft so that it can be later attached to the dart barrel. That's the part you hold and fling. On the other end, a cross saw makes slots for the arrow flights. At the same time, brass rods turn into the barrels on another machine. Grooves are cut into the barrel surface. This makes them easier to hold. And finally, they produce a dart point. It's done with the help of a hydraulic press. It forces pointed steel into the hollow part of the barrel. And dart's all there is about how they make darts. You know what? That little disc that's underneath bottle caps isn't just a leftover part of the production process. It creates an even tighter seal with the lid. So even if you turn the bottle upside down, the liquid doesn't leak out everywhere. The plastic disc keeps carbonated soda sparkly for longer as well, so keep it if it's going back into the fridge. Placing a wooden spoon across a pot of cooking pasta can prevent the water from boiling over. This will destabilize the bubbles when they contact the spoon, preventing a spillover onto the stovetop. To make the perfect smoothie, put the liquids in first. Then add any ingredients after you've put milk, coconut water, coffee, or yogurt. This will allow the perfect swirl to blend everything properly. When you open a peanut butter jar for the first time, it looks all creamy and delicious, okay? But the next day, you unscrew the lid and see a layer of unpleasantly looking brownish-yellow liquid on the top of your treat. Yuck. Well, that's oil making its way out. To avoid it, turn the jar over and store it like that. The next time, when you open the jar again, the contents will mix once more and you'll be able to enjoy that PB&J to the fullest. That hole inside of the pasta fork stirrer doesn't only drain water out, it's a great measuring tool for how much spaghetti to cook per person. The hole is the recommended amount for a single serving. Pressing the crosswalk button won't always make the walk signal come up. These buttons can be divided into 3 categories. The first needs to be pressed, the second won't work, and the third requires a push of the button to activate that walk signal after a certain time in the day. It all depends on what city you're in, the time of day, and where you are in that city. Tinfoil and plastic wrap boxes have a special design on there to hold that roll in place. A cardboard tab on each end that works as a lock. Push those tabs in, and the roll will stay inside the box. Repeatedly pushing the close door button in a U.S. elevator isn't going to make it close any sooner. In 1990, the U.S. passed a Disabilities Act for elevators, which means that elevators had to ensure that someone with a disability had time to get inside one. The only people who can bypass this are emergency workers and building maintenance people. They'll have keys or even special codes to make that button operational. You can turn on the new episode of your favorite TV show, fall into your cozy couch with a bag of chips, tear it open, and now you have to catch the chips spilling over. You've torn the bag too much. Careful not to make it worse, grab a hole punch and make a hole right at the end of the tear. That will stop it from going further thanks to the round shape of the hole. Pouring out juice or milk with the spout at the bottom leads to a glugging effect that splashes the liquid all around. To avoid this, flip the carton around with the spout at the top. This allows better airflow to happen, allowing a more even flow. Same principle works with gas cans that have 2 holes with caps. They aren't there to fill different size equipments. The second hole is meant to be uncapped before you pour your gas to prevent that glugging effect. Getting one Tic Tac out of that tiny container can usually end up as 5. I'm not complaining, but we've been doing it wrong the whole time. There's a hole built into the lid of the container that does more than keeping the lid closed tightly. Flip the container upside down and 1 Tic Tac will be stuck in the lid. Changing the thermostat setting in the vast majority of office buildings won't do a thing. The system controls are kept outside the air ducts, not on the wall. These dummy thermostats are to give the illusion that the AC or heat is changing. The most they'll change is 1 or 2 degrees. That's if they're connected at all. Non-stick pans make cleaning up a breeze after cooking a meal. But what makes a non-stick pan so useful is the coating. However, metal utensils on the pan will increase the chances of scratching or ruining the coating, so it's best to opt for those made of wood or plastic. How many times have you heated your food in the microwave only to stir it on the plate and heat it again, because it's only hot at the edges but ice cold in the center? Well, to forget about it forever, make some room in the center of the plate, spreading the food toward the edges before putting it in the oven. The microwaves heat the food from the walls, so it's only natural that the middle takes the longest to heat up. One more microwave trick while we're at it, you can actually mute it. Look closely at the front panel for a sound button. If there's none, try pressing and holding 1 or 0, stop or cancel. It'll either result in turning off the beeping sounds or activating a lock feature, and now you're on your own. Slow cookers work by trapping the heat inside and gradually cook food over a period of time. Lifting the lid to check on its progress, like a pot lid, will allow the heat to escape, increasing the amount of cooking time considerably. So, no peeking. That little pocket on your jeans wasn't designed for loose change or keys. They're originally designed for the pocket watch in the 1890s. Around those pocket areas, there are rivets sticking out as well. They're there to help reinforce the sensitive areas of the jeans that get the most wear and tear. Pre-rinsing your dishes before putting them into the dishwasher might be all for nothing. Most modern dishwashers have sensors inside to sense how dirty your plates are. This allows them to wash the dishes with a controlled amount of water. Scrape any solid food away and stack properly, allowing the dishwasher to do the hard work. Ceiling fans aren't just for hot days. There's a little switch on top that can change the direction of the fan. The summer setting runs counterclockwise to pull the cooler air up, while the winter setting moves clockwise, pushing the warmer air down. Metallic zippers have a hidden lock built in. Next time you've put on a pair of pants, shorts, or skirt, don't leave the zipper handle in an upward position. Push the little zipper tab downwards and it'll automatically lock. Toothpicks have a built-in holder to prevent you from just leaving them on the table. Just break off the top, place that on your table, and your toothpick between the notches. Pointy end up, of course. Now it won't touch the table and get all dirty. You can do the same with disposable chopsticks. Break off the top piece before you pull them apart. Every can of soda comes with a tab for easy opening of the tasty beverage, and every single one of them has a relatively large hole in the top. While it can make it easier to get your finger under the tab to get to your soda, its intended purpose is a straw holder. Spin the tab over the opening and place your straw through it to secure it in. Those tiny dimples on golf balls actually give a greater lift to the ball and reduce air resistance, meaning the ball can go further with them. These dimples come in spherical and hexagonal shapes, with each slightest change affecting the ball's performance. That is, if you can hit the thing with some degree of confidence and accuracy, which of course doesn't include me. Some pens have caps with holes in their tops. Those are put there as a safety measure. If someone accidentally swallows a cap while chewing on it, they'll still have some space to breathe. When you order a soda to go, it usually comes with a plastic lid. This lid is useful when you're in the car or walking and want to prevent your soda from spilling. But it can also be a great coaster. Just flip the lid upside down and place it under your cup. If you prefer to buy milk in plastic containers, you've probably seen big circles on their sides. These circles absorb the shock if you drop the milk jug on the floor. They also create some extra room for the jug to expand if needed. That's how you can see if the milk's turned bad without tasting it. Thank you. Women's blouses mostly have their buttons on the left, but the majority of people are right-handed, so it definitely makes more sense to put buttons on the same side. But 100 or even more years ago, only rich women had blouses with buttons, and they had maids who dressed them. The buttons on the left were actually on the right for the maids who faced the women they were dressing.